Hi guys, welcome to another video. Now if you're a KDU student, you will probably, sorry, a UOW MassCom student, all right, you will probably know what this room is. This is the recording studio or the entrance area to the recording studio. Now over here, this room was specifically created just for you, all right? You can come here, you can do your work, you can do your assignments, you can do your preparation before you enter the recording studio, which is over there. Let me show you. That's the entrance to the recording studio. Okay? And now let me tell you why this is important. Oh, we're rocking. Hang on. Let me tell you why this is important. If you go to the industry, if you work in Astro, if you go to Astro, I spent quite a lot of time at Astro doing voiceover work. You will find that the recording studio is like a factory floor. All right, no discussions happen in there, no meetings, no playing the fool, no hanging around. That room is literally like a chain reaction of activity. People go in, do their stuff, they leave. They sign a logbook or they put the card over there, activate the room, and get it done. But around the recording studio, you've got places and spaces like this where teams can come and sit down and discuss their script. All right? This is where the noise happens, the negotiation happens, the arguments happen, and all that. It happens out here. Do not do it in there. Okay? But this is a school, and in the school, we want you to learn what goes on in the professional environment. Okay? So today we are going to go in there, and we are going to have a quick view. But before we do that, I would like you to listen very carefully to the timbre and the environment sounds that you're hearing right now. Because when I go into that room and I start speaking to you again, by the way, guys, I'm using the microphone on the handphone, yeah? I'm doing it on purpose. I want you to differentiate the difference or to hear the difference between this room and that room, okay? This room has a carpet on the floor, ceiling boards, and a hard wall surface, okay? It's concrete gypsum. This is a gypsum wall. That's made of gypsum or wood. I don't think it's gypsum. This one doesn't sound like gypsum. It sounds like plywood, okay? This one, on the other hand, there's no sound and my fingers hurt. That's cement and concrete, okay? All right, so let's go in and let's see what is in store for us in the recording studio, okay? All right, so let's take a walk. Oh, I'm gonna need to put on the lights now because it's gonna be dark. All right. So this video is going to explain a little bit in detail about how recording studios or how recording rooms are made. Okay. We're going to turn it on and we are now going to turn the lights, or rather the camera, in this direction. Okay. Let me just frame it a bit. Awesome sauce. Okay, guys, so I'm talking to you right now and I'm speaking at a fairly loud volume. And I think you can hear the difference, can you? All right. The sound in here is clearer. There is no reverb. All right. That echoey sound that you are hearing outside. And the reason for that is because this room was designed specifically to help you get the best possible sound for your recordings. Okay, now the room is split into two basic areas. You've got this area here where all of the computers, mixers, speakers, and all of the hardware is stored. This is called the control room or the recording area or the engineering room or the DJ. You can call it whatever you want. All right, different organizations call it differently. But essentially, this is where the recording mechanism takes place. Okay. Now, forgive me, my voice is a little bit soft. Like I said, I'm not using a lapel mic. I'm speaking to you from a distance. And I think I need to reframe it. My head's a bit soft. I'm also going to increase the light output. There we go. Okay, guys. So in this area here, you've got mixers, computers, recording devices, amplifiers. I'll explain what an amplifier is at a later date. Reference monitor speakers. Also will explain to you what it is at a later date. Microphone cables, but most importantly, if you look around you, you will see this blue wall. Okay. Now these walls, if you ever been to the recording studio, you will realize that these walls are not hard surface walls. They are actually padded, all right, with sponge. Okay. Now that is a rather simplistic way to describe those walls. Okay. In terms of audio engineering, there are certain technical merits of having walls like that. But the fundamental function of a padded wall or a soft wall is to reduce reverb. Okay, so if I'm talking right now, you're hearing every single nuance of my voice, but you're not hearing anything else. Okay, you're not hearing the sound bounce around and create that echoey sound. Okay, that's one of the hallmarks of a semi-decent recording area. Okay, now this is the control room, and personally speaking, I've designed a few control rooms in my life. Padding a control room is literally not necessary. Okay, the recording booth is where we want to pad properly. All right. But in this case, I think because this was a school environment and recording was actually going to be done in this area as well, I think it was a very good idea to pad this room as well. Okay. Also, if you notice the floor is carpeted. It must be carpeted. All right. The carpet removes reflections. It also reduces reverb. In the ideal environment, even the ceiling boards have to be acoustically specified. Okay. Oh, very bright. Hang on. Okay. Okay. They have to be acoustically specified so that it also reduces reflections and refractions of sound. In this case, I don't think, yeah, it isn't acoustically treated. Those are just good old-fashioned normal ceiling boards. Okay, it still works. If you listen to my voice, it's very clear and it's going to be very easy to fix. Now I'm starting to sweat, so I'm going to turn on the air conditioner. All right, I'm going to turn on the air conditioner in the other room as well. Just give me a moment. Okay. Ooh. All right. Let's check the horizon again. Okay. All right. So let's take a quick look at some of the equipment that is available to us. I'm just going to reframe it and bring it down. Can you see? Yeah, I think you can. Let me do that for you. Okay. So in a nutshell, guys, the recording kit that we are using right now is a digital recording kit as well. This is a Behringer mixer, like the one I showed you earlier, but it has a lot more inputs, a lot more channels. Okay, function wise, it is all the same. The only difference is you have more of the same single channels here for you to modify. We have a computer, a PC here, running Adobe Audition. You can also run basically any other DAW that you like. A DAW is a digital audio workstation software. And maybe slightly later down the road, I'll actually create a video showing you what are some of the best free DAWs you can use and some of the paid DAWs. Okay. The secret here is not necessarily the DAW. Most of these workstation softwares are about the same. Okay, what is important is the connection between the mixer and the DAW. That one determines whether your sound has noise or not. All right, this is a production monitor or a reference monitor speaker. Okay, and the reason why they are called reference or production monitor speakers is because they provide a very linear frequency response. Okay, you can't take any old speaker that you buy, you can't take your computer speakers and all that and come and plug it in and do this. Okay, this speaker is what we call a truthful speaker. If your mix is bad, it will tell you it's bad. It will sound bad. If you bring in your home hi-fi speaker and put it in, even if the sound is bad, the speaker will make it sound semi-decent, and that is not what we want. We want a reference monitor speaker because it is truthful. It tells us every single nuance in our mix. So if we make a mistake in the editing, if we make a mistake in the recording levels, this speaker will tell you instantly that you've made a mistake. All right, 5,000 bucks. Yeah, not cheap, but an important inclusion in the system. Okay. All right. So this room is the recording area. This is where things happen. This next room is the sorry. There we go. Let me put this in the corner like that. Reframe everything up like that, and whack the light full. Okay. So this is the actual recording booth itself, or the recording room itself. This room is the room that needs to be padded. And if you can hear my voice again, it's even better than next door. Okay. Now, the reason for that is because there are no computers in this room. All right. The only thing in this room that is on is that air conditioner on the wall over there. Okay. So what normally happens is we cool down the room to 16 degrees Celsius. And just before the talent, by the way, the talent are all the voiceover people and the character actors are all here. Before they start recording, we'll turn off the aircon and wait for 3 minutes. 3 minutes is what is required for all the water, the moisture in the aircon to drip out. Okay? Don't ask me how I know 3 minutes. I just came in one day and timed it. Turned it off, listened to the sound, pressed my phone stopwatch, and then waited. Approximately 3 minutes is all you need for that aircon to stop making noise. Okay, so in this room, all these microphones and all of this equipment is connected to the control room out there via mic cables. Okay, now initially when I first came, all the mic cables were sent to a trunking box. In other words, the cables went through the wall. Okay, and that's great in a professional environment. All right, less cables lying around, less hassle. All right, but I didn't like that, and more importantly, that trunking system was starting to give trouble. So what we are doing now is we're actually physically running cables from the microphones in here to the mixer out there, and we are getting you guys, the students, to run the cables. Again, like I said, KDU, UOW KDU Penang is in the business of knowledge. We are not in the business of making commercials. We are not a production house. We are a production house of you. We need you to be good enough to join a production house. And how do you get good? By doing stuff, by learning stuff, by applying yourself. And that is what this room is for. Application of your learned knowledge. You apply the knowledge, you get experience. Okay, and the combination of knowledge and experience gives you value, it gives you worth, and that's what people in the industry are looking for. Okay, guys. All right, so this room, recording area. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, recording booth, sound booth, blah blah blah, it doesn't matter. All right, just know this fact that this room, all right, must be physically separated from that room. In other words, noise mustn't be able to come through. Now, to prevent that from happening, we have a very special wall built between the two rooms. That's right, folks. If you look carefully, this wall is almost 2.5 feet thick. All right. You can see this side of the wall is over here. By the way, the glass is slanted. I'll explain that in a while. And there's an air gap, an empty space between the glass, and there's another glass over there. Okay. So, without going into further sound engineering and acoustic details, just understand a very simple concept, and I will stop this video. It's getting a bit long. This room is supposed to be soundproof. All right. In fact, if you go and a lot of people ask you, they will mistakenly refer to this room, but this room is soundproof. There are very few 100% soundproof rooms in the world. Okay, guys? Right now, I'm standing here in relatively quiet peace, but I can tell you straight away, if I put on my headphones, you will hear sounds. Sound number one, the lights. All right? Those lights are buzzing and they're making sounds. Okay? Number two, this floor is connected to the ground floor. We are on the first floor. And directly before us is a kitchen. All right. Now, why is that important? Well, if someone decides to knock the wall, or if someone decides to knock the ceiling up, we're on the first floor, guys. There are floors above us, and there's a floor before us, under us. All right. If someone decides to knock the wall for whatever reason, for construction and all that, that sound is going to come into this room. Now, you won't hear it, of course, because your mind has been programmed not to hear it. But when you wear headphones and you start turning on the recording device, suddenly all of these little nuances are going to come to life. Okay? Now, this room is relatively soundproof. I'll use that word relatively soundproof because there's no school in Malaysia, I feel, has 100% soundproof room. They can't afford it. It's just way too expensive to build. Okay? Even professional production houses in KL who reputedly have soundproof rooms, I'm not mentioning any names, Astro, but yeah, they still have sound. You can still occasionally hear a jet fly by. And it's fine. All right? I'll tell you why it's fine, because if you truly master your equipment and know how to set your gain settings, okay, all of that is irrelevant. You can circumvent all of these noise pollution effects. All right, anyway, I'm talking too far and I'm talking too long. We'll break that into other videos in another day. I'm going to end by saying that this room was specially built to contain sound. All right? Contain sound. Huh? Okay, let me explain to you how this works. If this room is well built, and if you close the door, and if I yell, that person on the other side should not be able to hear me. Now, if that is a simple way of testing your room and see whether it is relatively soundproof. Okay, if that person can hear me, that means there is an air hole or an air gap somewhere where sound can travel through. Okay, and to understand this concept even further, you just need to know this: sound needs air to travel. All right. If you go to the moon surface and try to talk to your friend, they will never hear you. You'll be dead, but they'll never hear you. All right. There is no air on the moon surface. Sound cannot travel in that medium. Okay. So by blocking all the holes and making sure that air doesn't leave the room, you've got a fairly pretty good sound reinforced room. Unfortunately, you've also got something called a death trap. If someone locks that door in there, I die. I won't die instantly, but it'll take a few days. But yeah, I'll eventually run out of air, all right? And I will die of carbon monoxide or dioxide poisoning, okay? So that brings us to some certain criteria. Criteria number one, that door, the door leading to this room over there, must never have a lock on it, all right? And even if there is a lock on it, the lock must be only accessible from the inside of the room. Okay? But in my general opinion, all those doors must never be locked. All right? It's a death trap. Do not lock that door. Okay? Secondly, the room has to be padded, of course, as you can see. Ample padding on the ground as well. And the carpet here is different from the carpet out there. This carpet has a very thick underlay, sponge. Okay? And even while we are speaking right now, I can tell you that this is a wooden floor. That's right, folks, I'm not standing on concrete anymore. This wooden floor is elevated above the concrete to create an air gap underneath. That air gap, or air space, prevents vibrations from traveling through and hitting the inside surface. Okay? All right, so here's the true secret of a really good soundproof room. A soundproof room is basically a room built inside another room. Listen carefully. Or let me put it to you this way. Take a box, find another bigger box, put this smaller box inside the bigger box. All right? But you don't just drop it in. You need to suspend that inner box in space. That's right, guys. This room is floating. Yeah. But it's not floating in the sense of David Copperfield kind of magic floating. It's just floating on rubber or sound dampening material. All right? It's not in direct contact with the other wall surfaces. So if someone were to now drill something somewhere, we would feel the drilling sound, but a lot of that vibration and a lot of that sound will be absorbed by the dampening material and you won't hear it. Okay? Now, I'm pretty confident that this room is that good, which is why I'm speaking to you right now without a lapel mic. I'm using this microphone on my camera. And you should be getting very clean, very good signal to noise ratio. Cool? All right. Now, before I leave, I'm going to tell you the last point. I have to stop. If I don't stop, I'll be talking for hours. But the last point of a room is also to remove reflections. All right. When I talk to you, sound travels in a straight line. Right now, my voice is there, my mouth is there, and it's going straight to the camera. But if I turn sideways and I talk like that, you will find a difference in volume and you will get a difference in the actual environment. If I turn the other way and I talk like this, you can hear the difference as well. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds of listening to me talk to the wall while you stare at the back of my head and look at my taochang. All right? That is a very good example of sound deadening. If I turn this way, it sounds totally different. If I turn that way, it sounds totally different as well. Now, if I were in another room, like the room outside where it had hard surface walls, when I turn this way, the sound won't be that different. Okay? Or if I turn this way, it won't be that different as well. Simply because the sound is traveling out of my mouth, hitting every single hard surface and reaching the microphone over there. In this room, it's different. In this room, if I turn this way, sound goes there, bounces back a bit, and dies. This room is reflection free. Well, not 100%, but pretty darn close. Okay? And that makes it good for voiceover readings. It makes it good for plays. It makes it great for recording voice. All right? Okay. I'm going to stop here today because it could go on, but later on in the audio program in this series, I will teach you how to make a room like this in your house for free. That's right, free, guys. This is not clickbait. You have the majority of the materials that you need to make this room in your house. So stay tuned, subscribe. I'm not monetizing the ad. Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether you subscribe or not. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, awesome, dude. Adios.